So here I am in Central Florida, where nice notable nature is kind of few and far between compared to what it used to be, at least. And I was kind of wondering, what am I going to call this video? Should I call it "Nature is not just a pile of resources"? Nature, we can't live without nature. And then it hit me, it's even deeper than that. I would go as far as to say we're nothing without nature, right? And I'll get to why I know that is. You know, lots of people, they say, oh, we don't need nature. Nature gets in the way. Nature is the enemy. But you really think about it, where does our clean air come from? Where does our food, where does our water, where does so many things we depend on reliably come from, right? We can make clean water, we can make food, but if you want nutritious, easy to get, easy, cheap food, you can easily hunt it, get it from nature. And it's the same with water. And this is actually the primary source of Tampa, the greater Tampa area's water comes from, this is actually the Hillsborough River, and this dam is creating it's at least 1 billion gallons, up to 1 billion gallons or so reservoir. So this is although it's on the Hillsborough River, it functions much more like a lake. And you know, there are many or no, this isn't an environmental. I could talk about the pros and cons of dams, but for the purposes of this video, right? We don't get drinking water. You know, people think, oh, you need water, just go to the grocery store. Just take the salt out of salt water, and it's not that easy. It's super energy intensive. Now. And you know, I can't help it. No matter what I'm going to talk about on this channel, I am going to be biased toward nature. But just know, if you're going to probe and invest and think that you're going to catch me off guard and think that nature is not that important, you know, you can say, okay, nature is not my favorite thing to study. It's not. It seems like it's too cruel. It's not. It gets in the way of human progress. But then you have to realize, without nature, we can't survive. Where are you going to get your water from? Where are you going to, right? Because even urban spaces have the most polluted air, the most polluted water on average, right? The river, the Hillsborough River, upstream of this, although in Florida we don't have the best tap water, it's still exponentially better than it would be if we tore up all the swamps. There are a lot of swamps, a lot of gators in the upper Hillsborough River above the dam. And in order to maintain that water quality, to make it easier for them to process the water, make it drinkable, make it acceptable, right? The water is purified and kept clean by not having development on the upper Hillsborough River. And I wish I could say they're just preserving those swamps out of the kindness of their heart, but I have to be honest here. They're only really keeping the nice nature parks in the upper Hillsborough River in order to maintain the water quality, to be easily transform this as you can see, a sizable reservoir, in order to make it more feasible. You know, it's still from what I hear, they're trying to convert this dam into hydroelectric. It's not generating electricity at the moment, but they might retrofit it. But anyways, before I lose your attention, you know, again, if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, let me know. Predators rock. I know some people don't like that nature naturally is cruel, but again, it doesn't have to be your favorite thing. But the way I see it, if it's been around for millions of years, it knows what it's doing. There's an inner logic behind the food chain. it recycles everything. It doesn't allow for cancerous growth, or if there is cancerous, the species will do itself in or something. Yeah, if you want to know about true sustainability, study nature. If you want to know about how to design something, study natural animals, natural design. I'm telling you, man, because you can look at fiction, you can say, oh, I love fiction, I want to know how fiction was made. Fiction was made because of somebody's mind that was born probably between 20 and 60 years ago. Nature's been around for millions and millions of years. And it's been through all the trials and tribulations, and nature is the way it is for a reason. Yeah, and I know some people think that the world is only a few hundred years old. I'm not going to argue with you. The evidence is absolutely all over the place. For all the sea level change there's been, for all the evolution that's taken place. You know, no matter what you say, how logical you try to be, somebody's going to disagree with you. And, ooh, there's fish there. Am I into fishing? Yeah, to some degree. I'm not like a hardcore fisherman, though that's what got the foot in the door for nature. There's a hawk screaming. That's what got my foot in the door for nature, but ultimately, I just really like nature, man. There's so much depth behind the evolutionary process, behind the diversity, just so much, man. Invasive species, you can study that, the effects of that, the effects that man has on nature. And, you know, again, it's hard to say, hard to argue. You know, some people will always see nature as just a pile of resources. We only need to save nature in order to save the human race. I mean, it's hard to argue with that logic from a logical standpoint. But no matter what your angle is, ultimately, if it's a win-win to save nature, in its own right, but also to save the human race. And so, yeah, I think that's a good enough. Oh yeah, I meant to say, even if you said, oh, I don't need water, I can just drink soda, like screw water. Okay, soda is mostly water anyways, and also it takes, I just read this, in order to make a small soda, it requires 46 gallons of fresh water in order to make a small soda. I don't know why. And even to eat a hamburger, eating a hamburger is exponentially more water intensive than making most anything. And and wine takes hundreds of gallons in order to make 1 gallon of wine. So even to make most industrial products, or all industrial products, requires fresh water. Even to have electricity is nuclear power plants, especially. You think about where your electricity comes from. It comes from industrial plants, and they need cooling processes, and they use fresh water. So no matter what you enjoy in life, ultimately it requires water, and water comes from nature. Water doesn't come out of thin air. It doesn't come out of grocery stores. It comes from a grocery store, but where does it come from? It doesn't come out of thin air. It comes out of nature. And if you're in the Central Florida, there's an osprey up there. He's probably looking for some fish. Those are really good fish-eating birds. Oh, he's got a nest up there. I saw an osprey nesting at an Aldi's, like very far from the river. I was like, what the heck is he doing here? But I don't know, man. They either just don't care or got pushed out or something. But, okay.